Hiroji Kiyotake, who fans call Hiro, started off strong at Nintendo by creating the graphics and the artwork for the original Duck Hunt. I don't know if fans actually call him Hiro, but for the sake of brevity, and so you don't have to hear me stumble through pronouncing Hiroji Kiyotake 20 more times in 2.5 minutes, we're gonna call him Hiro. He made some super iconic animals back in 1984. Hiro was working on the original Metroid when Super Mario Bros. Was already exploding into people's homes like the Kool-Aid Man. Despite Mario's success, Hiro and crew wanted to make something that had what Super Mario Bros. Didn't have. The balls on this guy. This thinking would influence the game in ways both big and small. Some of the decisions he made affected fundamentals, as in gameplay focused on engaging enemies instead of avoiding them. Others were smaller details, such as Samus having tighter movement than Mario. Oh, then he invented the goddamn screw attack. Winner of the most badass, satisfying video game move ever created prize, an award that I just made up. He also created the design for Samus, one of the most famous video game characters of all time, and notably one of the first predominant female lead characters. Progressive stuff. Even if she was immediately sexualized after that reveal depending on your game's ending. And he designed Ridley too. That team pumped out Metroid from scratch in less than 10 months. Hiro's work was noticed, and for the next project in that series, he would move from designer to director of Metroid 2 for the Game Boy. Another success story. His next gig would be to delve into uncharted territory, requiring him to create a brand new character. After Samus, you might assume that Hiro went on to design the next great action sharpshooter, or another brave female protagonist. Nope. Fucking Wario. At his slimeball core, this villain is the physical embodiment of the mentality Hiro used in the creation of Metroid. What Mario isn't. He's greedy, he's mean, and he's often flatulent. But even when creating a villain, Hiro couldn't help but make a character that people would eventually adore. This Mario thwarting legend was introduced by Hiro and his team while heading up development on Mario Land 2, and it would be Wario, not Samus, that would dictate the majority of Hiro's career from then on. He would go on to work on Mario Land 3 and continue on all 3 mainline Wario Land sequels, as well as his Virtual Boy endeavor. He'd have credits in almost every Nintendo game Wario was in throughout the late 90s and early 2000s. Mario Party, Wario World, Mario Golf, the list goes on. And then he just stopped. You know, not all stories have dramatic endings. Honestly, I don't know what this guy is doing today. He's been out of any semblance of a spotlight for like a decade. It literally appears that, in my admittedly surface level research, he hasn't done anything video game related since 2010's Metroid Other M. He last popped up for a promotional interview for the NES Classics launch in 2016, where he was interviewing about the original Metroid, which is actually where I jacked most of the info for the Metroid segment of this video. There's credits in the description. Sometimes, you quit while you're ahead. Hiro left an irreplaceable mark on gaming history, regardless of if he's still out there making the history or not. Not every game developer needs to have a Miyamoto-length career for it to be impactful. The man is responsible for designing quite possibly the most eclectic mix of iconic video game characters ever. I'd like to think that he just decided to live his best, relaxing life spending his days Scrooge McDucking into fat sacks of 90s Nintendo money, the same way Wario would do it. Thanks so much for watching. Let me know in the comments what you think of this format. I know usually I make longer stuff, and if you want to check some of that out, feel free to click on one of the links floating around my head right now. I might expand on these further in the future, but before I get to it, if you want to take your shot, go for it. I don't own these stories. I just tell them.